This is Bungie's worst nightmare. This game that they've been developing, Marathon, has been in production for at least 6 years, if not before that, as an incubation project. And we are looking at two different graphs here from two different alphas. On the left is the Marathon alpha, where you can see what the population is like from the Steam charts, from start to finish, obviously trending downwards. On the right-hand side, we have the Arc Raiders alpha, right? This was the second playtest for this game, and noticeably, it's going up, right? There's more and more players, and we're talking about a lot more players, right? It peaks at 20,000 players here, right? Now, obviously, it's a closed alpha, but, earlier today, we've got like 127 people, if you can see that, 127 people playing the game, 100 people. How is this even a server stress test? With 127 people playing the game, Bungie. All right, they recently announced that they're adding some big, exciting changes. So that way people will be more interested in the alpha, making the PvE combatants harder, and I believe wiping the loot that you had currently in the game. And so now we're in the last day of that, and the population has skyrocketed to a whopping 535 players at the time of recording this video, down from 127. So it's bad, guys. It's really bad in terms of Marathon's reception of the closed alpha. Now, I'm not here to beat a dead horse, okay? At this point in time, Marathon is a dead horse, and it's been beaten to a bloody pulp in terms of its alpha reception. I'm here to try and present what is probably the most objective perception of what has happened here. So that way, Bungie can hopefully course correct, or if not, then we're going to literally witness this dumpster fire become worse and worse until it's roaring, and literally this game just implodes upon launch when no one buys this game for $40. And then the 300 devs that work on this game potentially get laid off in Bungie's third round of layoffs, which is not what I want to happen. I'm not here to, be negative towards this game. I wish this game was successful selfishly so that it would maybe help Destiny 2 be more successful. But instead, this game is going to fail at this point in time. It's what it looks like. It's too early to call it 100%, but it looks like it's going to fail, right? It's looking negative. And that is going to negatively affect the game that I like, which is Destiny 2. I like this game a lot, and I want it to do really, really well. And it is definitely going to be struggling with a third round of layoffs if Marathon goes the route that it's looking. Now, Bungie could obviously do some interesting things and maybe spice things up, maybe listen to some of the feedback. A solos playlist would be one thing, but at this point in time, there's just so many core fundamental problems with this game that changes to it would require almost a complete overhaul. And the game's meant to come out in 4 months from now. It comes out in September. So it's unlikely that would happen. Bungie has said that the big reveal that people are going to be excited about is like 2 more maps in September, which really is not going to move the needle that much, especially when we're talking about a needle that's as dead as it is right now. It's looking bad, right? I made a video previously talking about comparing Marathon to Arc Raiders, and we're calling Arc Raiders the Marathon killer, and it's kind of a joke and it's a meme, right? We've talked about Destiny killers for so many years now. You guys know I'm poking a little bit of fun with that, but the reality is this actually does make Marathon look so extremely bad, because this game is improving upon the genre and is doing so well. People are calling Arc Raiders, an extraction shooter that's going to come out later this year, Game of the Year. They're saying it's one of the best games they've ever played. They're saying the experience is incredible. People are loving this game. Arc Raiders is getting the reception that Marathon wanted, right? Arc Raiders is getting all of the love and admiration from the gaming community that Marathon didn't get, because it's just not that game. It is fundamentally flawed in so many different ways. It has elements in it that are infuriating to PvP players and people that play extraction shooters that people can't even understand. We're talking about a character that can get wall hacks in PvP. How many times have we seen this as an issue inside Destiny 2? Has Bungie learned their lesson? A character that can go invis with a ridiculously low cooldown, and when they go invis in this game, you go completely invis, like you don't even see anything. How ridiculous is that in a PvP game, in an extraction shooter, right? Where your loot matters so much. All right, there's clips of people going around and running through fire teams of 3 because you can just go invis. It's ridiculously powerful. And then you have one character that has just incredible movement, incredible mobility. The game is just ridiculously imbalanced. It's bad. The balance can be changed though, right? You can tweak some of those values to some degree, but overall, it just has so many fundamental flaws. They're trying to push people into playing in a team of 3. People just don't play games like that. You're going to have to convince someone to buy Marathon for $40, and then they're going to have to convince 2 friends to buy Marathon for $40 as well, just so they can have a team together so they can play this game in a coherent way where you actually can match with some teammates and have the, at least the designed playthrough that you're supposed to have. It needs a solo playlist, right? There needs to be solos in this game. There are so many fundamental flaws. The oversight in creating this game is stupendous. This is something that will probably be studied. This is looking like, and I hate to say it because I hate to be so negative, but this is looking like Concord 2.0, right? We have enough time to digest what has happened throughout this time, and this is looking to be Concord 2.0. I hope that's not the case. Again, I hope that Bungie is holding some cards up their sleeve or something crazy, but no matter what it is that they're holding up their sleeve, I don't care if it's 1,000 ARGs, right? I don't care if there's an ARG every day for the first year of this game, and everyone's just like, wow, there's so many crazy puzzles and so many incredible cutscenes like they had. The cutscene was awesome. That cinematic is probably one of the best cinematics in gaming history. Easily top 5 I've ever seen, right? Cinematic, incredible. The cinematic's not the game, though. The cinematic is not going to save this game. The gameplay is what's essential to getting people to log in and play again and again and again and spend money to buy the damn game in the first place and to spend money on microtransactions, because this is meant to be a live service game. But it's not even alive right now. There's no one playing this game. The game is at such a dead state in its alpha. It is remarkable. If you go onto Twitch, and again, Twitch is not necessarily the best indicator of a game's popularity or how many people are playing, but it tells you kind of the pulse of what's going on, the pulse of the game. 1,000 viewers, all right? Yesterday, at one point, I saw there were 200 viewers in Marathon. 200 viewers, right? Now, if you didn't get an alpha, which was another huge issue, right? They did a closed alpha and they invited a very narrow group of people. Well, guess what? All those people you didn't invite feel extra salty and extra burned. They're like, I didn't even get to play this game. And now they already have the opinion in their mind, right? The 90% of the people that didn't get invited, this game must be trash. Everyone's trashing this game. Everyone's saying this game is terrible. And everyone says Arc Raiders is incredible and we should go play that. What do you think is going to happen, Bungie? You have set yourself up for such a massive failure here that this is going to be studied. This is terrible. And this is truly Bungie's worst nightmare after all the money, time invested, and the lack of investment and effort put into Destiny 2 from the last few years to put into this game. This is a nightmare for Bungie, and I do not know how they crawl out of this one. I truly think that we are about to see and witness one of the craziest sequences over the next few months, because we are going to, if things continue as they are, we're going to see the arrival of Marathon in September, and it is going to crash and burn almost instantly. And then we're going to see that game discontinued. We're going to see potentially 300 layoffs from Bungie. And then we're going to see at that point in time, Sony's complete takeover of Bungie. All right, Sony's not going to let Bungie to have any sort of creative control over their games anymore when they burn that much money, especially after Sony just got burned for $400 million from Concord. And to be fair, a lot of those were ex-Bungie devs, but the narrative goes along with that a lot of former Bungie devs, people who are Destiny creators, were making that game, and so essentially ex-Bungie people made the worst game ever, Concord, and then current Bungie people potentially are making one of the second worst game, right? Like, this is how bad it's looking right now. I hope it's not the case, all right? I hope it's not the case. I hope that there's somehow Bungie can change this narrative in some way. But right now, it is looking so unbelievably bad. All the charts that you can possibly look at just make it look bad in any metric possible. If you can find some metrics for me from any different website, feel free to do so. I even tried to look up Google Trends to kind of see a comparison. We have Arc Raiders here in Google Trends, and then I looked up Marathon game, but Marathon, the word itself, obviously people are running marathons, so it's kind of hard to really do too much with this graph in my opinion. But basically, statistically, and from word of mouth at the very least, it's not looking good, right? Have you heard of people being extremely excited about this game that aren't Marathon creators? Now, to be fair, there's a lot of people that are invited, right? We know that people are invited to play the game early, and it's hard not to get wrapped up in that excitement. Like, hey, man, I get this special treatment from Bungie. I get to play a whole new game. It could be the next big thing. This could be the new Fortnite. This could be the new Minecraft. This could be huge for me and be good for my career. I want to go into this with a level of excitement, enthusiasm, hoping that the best possible outcome happens, right? So I don't blame all those Marathon creators, all those guys who are in that trailer saying, man, this game's awesome, this is going to be great, right? Because you can't fault them because they're getting a little bit behind the hype of it. They're getting a little bit too excited about it. They don't have enough time playing the game to really evaluate things from start to finish and really think about it in the grand scheme of the whole picture of gaming, right? So I don't fault them too much, but most of those guys have regressed their statements, if I'm being honest. If you go look on social media, your favorite content creator that was saying, man, Marathon's awesome, I'm having fun playing it, most of them are, one, they're not playing right now. You can go look in the directory. They ain't playing the game. Two, they've regressed their statements. They've said, I'm not going to stop talking about Marathon. I'm not going to name names here because I don't want to call anyone out. But, you know, people are tweeting out now, I'm done talking about Marathon. I'm tired of it. I'm not impressed with Marathon, etc. I mean, the list, I can go on and on and on. I could name probably about 24 names right now of people that were hyped for Marathon that are now on the not talking about it or the negative cycle for Marathon right now, you know? And it's not negativity for the sake of negativity. It's not people just being negative. We're being positive towards Arc Raiders. Like, we're not just negative gamers, we're just a bunch of salty, you know, assholes or something like that. Like, we love good games. We are stoked for Arc Raiders, not because it puts down Marathon, just because it's a good game. We want good games to get elevated. We want good games to get played. We want good games to get developed. We want more good games to play. And that is Arc Raiders. And at this point in time, that's not Marathon. And it's just the alpha tests. I know a lot of people have their different opinions, like, hey man, you can't judge a whole game on its alpha tests and things like that. But remember, we are very close to this game's arrival. 4 months. This game comes out in September. If this was the alpha and Bungie's like, yeah, don't worry guys, it's going to release in September 2026, then that would be one, okay, great. And a year and 4 months, they'll change so much by then. It'll be awesome. We won't be stressed about it at all, right? And now alpha wasn't received very well. Bungie's gonna, you know, cook on it a little bit and change a couple of things up. That's not the case. This game is coming out almost exactly as it is in the alpha. There will be some visual changes. There'll be a couple more maps. There may be a couple secrets here and there, an ARG or, you know, some secret community puzzles and things like that, which is great and all. It's not a bad play from Bungie, but overall, this is the game that's coming out. Like, let's not make any mistake of it. Let's not say that, you know, let's call a duck, right? Like, this Marathon in the alpha is roughly what you are going to be playing when the game comes out to a certain degree. You know, there's going to be some changes and some other subtleties, but that's what the game is, and people are not liking it. And that is a crazy thing for Bungie to happen. I don't think Bungie was ever expecting that. They're like, man, 6 years developing this game, surely this is going to hit. It's not a hit. And it's a nightmare for Bungie. I wanted to bring you my summary video of the Marathon closed alpha from start to finish and let you know a little bit about what's happening, because I have found it just so fascinating of Bungie's development of this game and the reception of this game overall, and watching how things are trending for this game in general, especially as they're literally trying to, you know, do some good things for it. They said, hey, we're going to change the AI, we're going to adjust some things, and we'll see what happens inside the closed alpha. But it's just the pulse is gone for this game right now. You know, maybe they can come back with the second closed alpha and impress us a little bit more, but it's going to have to make some serious advancements. We have the second closed alpha, we have the open beta, and then the game launches in September. And there's not a whole lot of time to make a lot of big changes. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below about Marathon's closed alpha and the community's criticism. Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's warranted? Or do you think everyone is being overtly negative? What do you think about Arc Raiders in comparison to Marathon, at least in terms of the community's perception and the narrative and the word of mouth that's going around between these two games? Because they're truly going at ends with each other, right? They're both extraction shooters with alphas at the same time that are releasing in the world at the same time. It's hard not to compare the two, especially when one is praised so highly and one is seemingly hated so much. I'll see you in the comment section below. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed, smash the like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.